I could wrestle in my sleep. We had really perfect timing no matter what kind of travel schedule we had. Another one would be my brother Owen, and maybe even Undertaker and Steve Austin are two of the guys that I had great timing with, and we had great chemistry. It seems like every time we ever locked up. So there's quite a few guys like that.
With your autobiography being so well received, is there going to be a follow-up to that anytime soon?
It's possible. It's possible. There's another 600 pages that I could work from, that I've got all sort of ready and waiting for me to sort of delve into and see if I want to sort of revise it or sort of do it a different way. But I'm still just sort of taking things slow with the writing. I've still been working on a different book right now that I'm still trying to complete. But I have lots of ideas.
Wasn't it a romantic novel or something? Because I know you're interested in writing generally as well.
Yeah, it was a historical war novel that I was trying to work on. But it's still a work in progress. It may take years to finally do that.
I guess the question I've got to ask you is, and I know you were a part of his life, was Chris Benoit. Now, it's been a couple of years since the awful circumstances in which Chris Benoit and his family died. Looking back and kind of the media coverage and everything like that, what's your thoughts on the whole situation in general?
Well, I think if you look at it, if you go back to what I was saying at the time, you'll find that I was right about everything I said. That there was no evidence that there was any connection between what happened to him and his family. There was no connection with steroids. It was just a case of somebody having a bad day and going crazy, and the reasons for that are, maybe no one will ever know. And it's just a terrible tragedy that happened that hurt a lot of people, hurt a lot of, obviously hurt Canadians across the country were mortified by it, as by wrestling fans around the world were mortified by it. And I think it left a bad taste, left a hurt in everybody's heart, because Chris Benoit really was a guy that, was the kind of guy that would walk a little old lady across the street. He was a really nice guy, and remembered by everybody as a really nice guy. And for him to do what he did offended everybody, but at the same time, it really hurt everyone because it was so improbable, and so no one could imagine that or see that coming. And I think it's still something that wrestlers are still coming to grips with, especially the ones that were closest with him and his family and everybody. It was a really sad, terrible thing.
Were you frustrated at all by, I guess, when the media coverage was so strong and there was a slant on it, and a lot of wrestlers are coming out and almost trying to defend professional wrestling? I know Mark Mero tried to do something with it. I guess, were you annoyed that, there were so many people kind of trying to, I guess the right kind of term would be to kind of try and get the emphasis off what he did and try and protect wrestling in general instead of thinking about, obviously, the terrible circumstances?
Well, I think a lot of people just were upset about it. I don't think Mark Mero was so wrong in anything he said. I didn't think it was an opportunity, and disagreed with him on the idea that this was about steroids. It was never about steroids. The media had jumped all over that. This was clearly a case of a tragedy that had much deeper. It was much deeper than that. It wasn't steroids. And steroids. I've seen a lot of wrestlers. Do some crazy things on steroids, but nobody's had that kind of a violent streak come out of them that I ever knew of. And, I just never thought that it had anything to do with steroids. And I think you find that now they've come to a more closer conclusion that it was concussion injuries from years and years of banging his head, maybe jumping off the top rope and delivering that headbutt every night for 25 years, made his brain like mush, and he was just a time bomb waiting to go off that day.
I know you discussed when you were doing the media coverage for that there should be possibly a wrestlers' union. Have you discussed that with Vince McMahon at all? Like, have you actually conveyed to him how you feel about that?
No, I don't think it's worth bringing up anymore. It's not really my fight anymore. And, I'll always say the wrestlers should have a union, and maybe someday they'll get one, but I'm in no position to embark on that or push for that.
Okay, now I guess going back to your current WWE appearances now, I guess whatever happens in it, would you like consider being an agent for the WWE or anything like that once you're through with that storyline?
I don't think so, just because I think, my time is too valuable to spend the rest of my life chasing my suitcase from town to town like an agent would. Maybe some of the agents that work in the eastern part of the United States, they can get home every few days and it's not so bad. But for me, where I live, it wouldn't make much sense.
Yeah. How have you handled the schedule? I guess it's such a sort of transition because you used to be on the road so much and then you were off the road. And now I know you do a couple of appearances and then you were back on the road. Has it been hard to handle that? Or it's just one-shot appearances, so you're just traveling? How has it been for you?
It's just been Mondays so far, and it's been fine. Flying these days is not the same as it used to be, and you have to deal with a lot of, the sort of the, you can get pretty impatient standing in line and go through various security things all the time, especially with my case with a steel knee. But generally speaking, I've had a pretty easy time of travel so far with what I've done.
You're sort of staying on the same subject with your WWE appearances. I've got to ask you this, right? Because when I was watching the appearance, there must be times in wrestling where you just really want to crack up laughing, just the stuff is so ridiculous. How did you feel about when Vince McMahon came out and did that really, really weird sort of walk that he does? That must be kind of a thing where you're trying not to laugh, but you're trying to stay serious.
Yeah, it's an interesting walk. At least, I don't know where he created. I thought the little pose he did under the spotlight was kind of interesting too.
Was that one where he came out and he sort of danced?
He danced and then he came back across the stage and did a little pose in the spotlight.
That was fantastic, actually. I watched that.
I thought that was quite creative on his part.
I guess my final question is, what can we expect next from Bret Hart? Have you got any upcoming projects, or apart from the WWE stuff, obviously?
No, just maybe the Hart Family DVD comes out in a few months. My book is coming out in paperback in different places across the United States and hopefully, in Europe again. But I think all in all, I'm just working on a few different writing projects, and I don't know what they'll see first.
Oh, by the way, just before we go, you've seen the Hart Family rough cut of the DVD. What are your thoughts on it?
I thought it was pretty good. I thought they did a good job of trying to. It's not an easy family to tell a story about. There's a lot of threads and a lot of different people in it, and it's hard to make a video like that and make everybody happy. But I think they made a video that make everybody happy.
Bret, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, all right, nice talking with you.